Are you getting bored with living the same story over and over again? Does it feel like nothing ever changes? Does it feel like you're playing the same role but in a different package? Does it feel like you're repeating the same cycle? We tend to get lessons on this journey, and each lesson is here to help us grow. But if we don't learn the lesson, we repeat the cycle. So something will only repeat if there's a message, and something will keep repeating until you learn what that message is. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. So does it feel like your life is repeating? Does it feel like the same shit, different fucking day? Does it feel like the same thing happens over and over again, but just in a different package? This is the universe screaming at you, hey, wake the fuck up, and this is redirection. We're being shown lessons, or we're being shown obstacles in order to redirect us, to put us onto our destined path. But if we don't fucking listen, if we're too conditioned, if we listen to the ego mind, if we listen to our conditioning, we're going to repeat it over and over and over and over and over again. And that is it. It will not stop until we learn the lesson. And it's funny because it'll happen, in a different way. So you might think, oh, this looks new, this is different, but it's actually the same thing in a different cover. And that's all it is. The same narcissistically abusive people will show up in your life in different shapes and sizes. The same repeated toxic patterns will show up again and again if you do not learn the lesson. And this is when we're in that energy, that low vibration energy, when we don't see a way out, we are living on this hamster wheel. We're living the same shit every day. And we don't even, in that depths of conditioning, we don't see that there is anything else. And we don't realize that the repetition is a sign, because there is no such thing as coincidence. There is only synchronicity. Everything aligns in order to connect to the next thing. So we need to understand what the message is in everything. And that's the thing. It's not just repeated patterns. We're getting messages in everyday life. We're getting guidance. We're getting warning signs. We're getting redirection. We're getting detours. We're here to be aware to that, and we're here to listen to those signs. But if we don't listen to those signs, they will happen again and again and again and again and again. And this is it, and I call these, these are nudges from the universe, and if you get a nudge from the universe to direct you in the right direction, listen to it. And if you don't listen, the nudge gets louder, and louder and louder until you get a shake up, and then you get a grenade thrown into your life. And then you have to start again. And then guess what happens? You have a choice. You have a choice to evolve or repeat. Evolve or repeat. Which are you going to choose? And this is it. We tend to repeat again and again and again and again and again. And this, I described this to you guys before. I had a pattern of narcissistically abusive relationships, and in all aspects of my life. And I started my awakening journey in 2018, and, so I was starting to become a little bit more aware. But I didn't see any patterns before that. I kept attracting the same kind of person, toxic, narcissistic. I went through an 8-year narcissistic relationship, and this is funny because I there's a timeline here, there's the difference in the lessons learned. So I was nearly 8 years in a toxic relationship, right? And after that one, I very quickly got into another toxic relationship that lasted 1.5 years. Then I said to myself, I'm going to give myself a little bit of time to heal now, so I'm not going to date for a while. So then I waited 1.5 years or so, and I decided I'd start dating somebody else. And guess what? He was a narcissist as well. That only lasted 2 months. So 8 years, 1.5 years, 2 months. See the pattern? But see the reduction in size in timelines? So therefore, after it took me 8 years to fucking realize the first time. But I didn't, that was it. I just, that ended. Got into a really fucked up relationship then after that for the last 1.5 years, but the time was shorter, so my lessons were fewer and I learned the lesson quicker. So then when it happened, this was funny because I felt I was healed. I felt I could give myself enough time to be single, and I was like, I'll let somebody into my life again, and boom! The fucking universe gave me another narc, and I'm just like, what the fuck? So, then I was like, hold on now a second. This has to be something I after the third time was enough, because, normally we repeat something twice and think, that's, we don't connect the dots. But when it happens a third time or fourth time or fifth time or whatever, you kind of go, you're just like, what the fuck? This can't be coincidence. Because at the time I was learning spiritual awakening and manifestation and all that, so I knew there was no such thing as coincidence. And I was like, if it's repeated, it's a message. Like, if you see synchronized numbers, or if you see, an animal more than once, or if you see a message come up on it more than once, that means you have to research it. That means there's a loud message here for you. So now, if you keep hearing things more than once, it's always a sign to look at that, a sign to read into it. So when this happened a third time, I was like, I thought I was healed. How am I repeating another pattern? And at the same time, I was being forced out of my job by a narcissistic boss. And I also had a couple of narcissistic friends, which I needed to get rid of as well. And I was just like, what's wrong with me? Why am I repeating this? Why is there another narcissist in my life? Another, more than one. And it was a massive wake-up call. I was like, there has to be a reason for this. So I started to look into it, and I was like, oh my God, we're here to learn fucking lessons. And if we don't learn the lessons, they're going to fucking show it to you again and again and again and again and again. And that's a fact. It will keep happening, and it will keep repeating until you wake the fuck up. So that's the thing to ask yourself. Are you going through the same shit over and over again? Are you meeting the same kind of person in a different skin? Are the people around you turning narcissistic as well? And that's another thing that happened to me. And it wasn't even the fact that they turned narcissistic. I questioned at one stage, like, am I turning these people into narcs? And I was just like, no, these people were always narcissistic. I just didn't notice it because I was unhealed. So as you awaken, you're kind of, and then you notice your pattern. Like, so my pattern was narcissistic abuse, and I'm just like looking around the place going, they're fucking everywhere. They're fucking everywhere. And I realised that I had my first narc when I was fucking 15 or 16. Do you know what I mean? That I've actually had more narcissists throughout my life than I ever thought I did, because I wasn't awake to them at the time. So I was like, Jesus, this is a massive wake-up call here. Why is this repeating? And this is why, we do this over and over again. It's like, why, ask yourself, what is this trying to show you? And the only way we can get off that cycle is to choose to evolve. We have to choose, and that's another thing. And the universe does this as well, right? You might be after doing a little bit of healing and stuff, and you're on the right track, and the universe dangles a piece of your past in front of you to see if you pass the test. And this happened, this happens like, so like if you've done all the work, like the universe has done this to me a few times. Like, so I chose after the third romantic narc, say, that I was not dating again for a very long time. I discovered I was a twin flame, and I was like, I'm waiting for that. I'm not allowing another narcissist into my life. And after that, the universe showed me what was coming, showed me the love that I deserved, showed me that, that divine love was for me. And I decided to wait for that. But the universe has come in a few times with these tests. It's unreal the way they do it. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, here's some temptation. And the outside of the temptation will look like fucking, I just have a vision of a chocolate Easter egg here. So the outside will look all beautiful, but the inside is fucking hollow. It's a good analogy. Anyway, so like, I've had people come up to me and present this front to me and say, like, I'm all spiritual, I do this. And then all of a sudden it's just like, okay, that's another narcissist. But it's like this, the universe comes to you just when you're on the verge of passing the final fucking test and say, here's this. And it's like that apple out of Snow White. Here's a shiny fucking apple. And the apple is fucking poisonous. And like, we have a choice then to either repeat another karmic relationship, repeat another karmic cycle, or say to ourselves, no thank you, I will not have that shiny apple. I will find something that's not fucking poisonous. Do you know? And that's exactly what it does. That's the ultimate thing with the universe. It's like, literally, when you're on the verge of getting everything that you fucking want, the universe will bring you that poisonous apple and say, do you want to go back to your old ways? Do you want to go back to another fucking cycle? And sometimes, if we're not ready, we can repeat another cycle. And that can come in the form of not just romantic relationships. I know I was going on a bit about romantic relationships there, but this can come in the form of work relationships as well, or work dynamics. You know, you could be going from, you know, going through, like I was forced out of a job by a narcissist, and then I went into a next job, which didn't bode well for my health. And, you know, there was night shifts, so it just really didn't work well. But like, so then, you know, I kept getting these signs from the new jobs I kept going into, like that there was just, it wasn't for me. And like, you know, the last one I went into as well, I had another narcissistic boss. You know, so it was just repeated pattern over repeated pattern. And, you know, if you keep getting a narcissistic boss in every job you go into, it kind of means that you're not supposed to work for these people, and you're supposed to work for yourself. And that's kind of what woke me up to my purpose and my wanting to become a coach, was because I was getting those messages over and over again. This job isn't for you. This job isn't for you. This, you know, this position isn't for you. You have to do something on your own. I kept getting that loud and clear. And that's another one with us when it comes to our awakening and going out on our own. We have this message loud and clear. You have to do something of service for this planet. You are here for more. You're here to break that cycle. You're here to escape the fucking matrix. And you're getting this loud and clear. But then you're like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do this. I have to get a job. I have to do this. I have to do this. And you're freaking out. And you literally go back into another cycle. And that's what I kept doing. I kept going back into these narcissistically abusive work dynamics, and kept repeating those cycles. And I could hear it loud and clear. You need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do this. You need to start your own business. You need to do this. And I kept hearing it. And I was like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. And I kept repeating another cycle. And this happened with friendships as well. It was just like, you know, we always do this. Oh my God. It's like we're getting this message as loud and clear. Walk away from this family member. Walk away from these friends. This is not serving you anymore. Your tummy is killing you. And you're getting headaches around these people. Your body is reacting, going, get the fuck out. And then you have a little bit of a break and you're like, yeah, well, I don't want to leave them. You know, there's only one of them gone bad. Why do I have to leave the whole group? And you're like, I'll go back again and I'll see what it's like. And it's fucking horrible. Do you know what I mean? And like, you're literally saying to yourself, like, you know, it was only bad the last time. It was only bad once or twice. It'll be fine the next time. And then you go back and you repeat the cycle and you're like, oh my God, this is why I wanted to get out of here. I feel so uncomfortable. So yeah, it'll keep happening again and again and again and again until we actually kind of go, oh, this is what I've been telling myself for the last fuck knows how long. And this is it. This is when we finally wake up to our intuition, because our intuition is screaming at us so fucking loud. Do the thing that's good for you. Walk away from the shit that's bad for you. And you're like, yeah, but it's comfortable here, until your tummy and your fucking head starts exploding and you're like, get out of the situation. Do you know what I mean? It takes a long time for us to fucking listen. And sometimes we have to repeat the cycle in order for us to actually fucking listen. And that's a fact. We have to do it that next time. We have to repeat that karmic pattern one more time in order to learn what we need to learn. And it gets shorter, as I said. For me, for the relationships wise, it was 8 years, a year and a half, 2 months. And I swore off dating. Do you know what I mean? And I was just like, fuck that shit. You know, and with the bosses, it was just, you know, it kind of went, it did go, yeah. It was sequenced as well, like, do you know what I mean? It was like 2 years, 6 months, 3 months or something like that. You know what I mean? So it was just like, it's this massive wake-up calls to kind of say to you, listen, girl, this is not for you. This is not for you. This is affecting your health, both mental and physical. Do you know, and that was it. My mental and physical health was deteriorating, and that came to the friendships as well. Every time I went to do something that was out of alignment or that was a repeated pattern, I would feel it. My tummy would really react, and I would get headaches around these people as well. So it was only when my physical health started to be affected that I was like, okay. Maybe, like, obviously my physical health would have been affected prior to that, but I wasn't listening, and it had to be affected more than once. So, like, you know, and that's when I walked away from family as well. It was like my health was deteriorating, and I was like, you know, this is your wake-up call. And I kept getting the signs over and over again, and it was like, oh my God, don't repeat another pattern. And that was the thing with my dad, like, I was trying to take my energy back, so I wasn't spending as much time there. And I remember I was supposed to go up, I told you guys this, I was supposed to go up to the week after, and my brakes went on my car, and it was like this really loud message from the universe: you're not supposed to be in his energy. You cannot go up there again. And I was just like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. That's fine. So I was like, I cancelled. I was like, I'm not coming up. And then he fucking collected me the week after. And what happened? We had the worst fight ever, and it's the last time I fucking saw him. But if I had have just said no to that and said, no, please don't collect me, I can't go up there, we may not have had that argument, and I might have had more space in order to get myself back together, and I might have even had to walk away completely. But it was them, these nudges that we're getting over and over again. It's like, fucking listen, or the shit's going to hit the fan. That's what it's effectively going to do. If you don't listen to these signs, the shit is going to hit the fan. And things are going to be a lot worse than they are now. And that's the scary part. So this is why it's so important to become self-aware. So important to listen to your intuition. So important to listen to your body. What is your body trying to tell you? Because oftentimes when we're on the verge of this awakening, we're still very torn between human and soul. And we don't know which to trust, because we've only known human most of our lives, and we haven't been connected to our souls. So it's stretchy, so we're being pulled apart, and we're figuring out which direction to go in. Because, when we start to discover the truth, we question absolutely everything. But we're not really good at listening to our bodies, are we? Because we tend to overwork and collapse, and then that goes to shit. But that's it. Don't let it get to the stage where you're so fucked up that you're on the verge of collapse. Don't let that cycle repeat itself again. Because you know yourself what it's like to have the universe throw a grenade into your life when you're not listening, when everything goes to shit. Well, everything will continue to go to shit towards the end of each cycle until you don't repeat the cycle. So, don't get it to the stage where you're on the verge of another tower moment, as I call them. Don't let your whole life go to shit. Start making the changes now so that you're prepared for the end of this last lesson. Start listening to your body. If your body is reacting to situations, people, dynamics, listen to that. Your soul is screaming at you through your body, through physical symptoms, to get the fuck out of the situation. Start listening to that. Anything that repeats itself, listen to that. If it happens more than twice, that's a lesson. That's repeating. And you cannot, that's the thing with me. I repeated a pattern there lately, and it was twice. And the minute it happened twice, I was like, no. I learnt my lesson before. I will not do this a third time. That's it. Twice was enough. Twice was too fucking much, to be honest. I should have learnt my fucking lesson before that. But twice was too much. And I've learnt my lesson now. I will not repeat that cycle again. So listen to anything that repeats itself. There's a message there. If you see something more than once, there's a message there. If your life is showing you the same scenarios over and over again, there's a fucking lesson there. It's time to break that cycle. It's time to break free. It's time to listen to your soul. Listen to what your body, your mind, your soul is trying to tell you. You're on the wrong path. If something is repeating, it means you're on the wrong path. It means you need to listen. It means you need to learn a lesson. You need to stop repeating these karmic cycles. Well, you're going to keep repeating the karmic cycles till you learn the lessons. And as I said, they do get shorter. But you need to become aware of these things. You really do. If you want your life to evolve, if you want to become your best version, if you want things to change in your life, if you want adventure, if you want happiness, if you want to break out of those toxic patterns, it's time to start listening. Really listening to what you truly want and not what you've always known. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you would like help in your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I would love nothing more than to help you on your path.